And welcome into the 617 podcast brought to you by the Grow Worthy Network, the voice of Boston fans for the fans, here on all your podcasting platforms and on YouTube as well. If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to the podcast. Give us 5 stars if you're on Apple Podcasts. Appreciate that as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe and the bell so you'll be able to not miss any of our videos. I'm your host for today, Craig D'Alessandro. Right, Sean Buchanan is right beside me as well as always. He is always by my side. Today's episode of the 617 is brought to you by BetUS.com, where you get 125% sign-on bonus by using the promo code CROW at sign-up. This episode is also being brought to you by the fine folks over at benchclearers.com, an officially licensed NHL apparel brand. Licensed hockey apparel for all your fans. Get your favorite Bruins sweaters in tank top form and shorts forms so you can wear and rep your team all season long. And exclusively to the 617 podcast, listeners to save 20% on your order when you use the promo code CROW at checkout. That's CROW at checkout at benchclearers.com. You can check the link below if you're on the podcast, you can check the link below as well on YouTube, bring you right to the website. Patriots are 1-3 on the season. Patriots fall the Green Bay Packers Sunday afternoon in overtime by a score of 27-24. In what I thought was a hell of a football game, but moral victories today for the Patriots. Those are pretty hard to come by. Patriots pushed the game into overtime, showed some things today that could spark a turnaround here for the Patriots once they're truly healthy, but a loss is a loss. Patriots fall to 1-3 on the season. Sean Buchanan, Patriots 1-3, as I just mentioned, lose today the Green Bay Packers. Overall thoughts?
Yeah, so like you said, overall good game. Losing is never fun. It doesn't matter what sport, it doesn't matter what time of the year. You know, you like you said, we've seen some good things that happened that could carry over, that should carry over. And we'll get into that as the show unfolds. But yeah, they showed a lot of good things from the rookies that they drafted this year, whether it be on defense and on special teams. So I was pleased with what I saw in that respect, but becoming victorious and not just saying, "Oh, that was a great performance by so and so," but at the end of the day, they didn't get the job done. The only stat at the end of the day that matters is the W, and we've only been able to see that once this year. And unfortunately, for the second year in a row, they have now become 1-3 to start the first quarter of the season. So, hopefully, there's better days ahead. But as of now, once again, there's some things to build on, but there's a lot of doom and gloom going on down at Route 1 right now, in my opinion.
4 games into the season, we talked in the preseason about where we thought the Patriots were going to be at this point during the season after the first 4 games. Where we knew they had these three really tough matchups in the Pittsburgh game in there. We predicted they would go 1-3, and that's where they are now. As you mentioned, the second year in a row, the Patriots will start the season 1-3 on the season. Doesn't necessarily mean the season's over. Of course, the Patriots had that really hot streak last year where they won, what was it, 8 in a row, something like that, and had some really good games, some really encouraging games by Mac Jones at quarterback. And of course, that was the storyline coming into this game. Mac Jones, of course, out for this game, recovering from a severe high ankle sprain, according to the reports. We discussed the recovery of that injury last week with Doctor Jessica Flynn of the Boston Sports Journal, the 33rd team, and NBC Sports Boston, and her own website, docflynn.com. If you missed that interview, I'll leave it out in the comments, the description down below. And if you're on YouTube, I'll leave a clip right up here, right there. And you can check that out at your leisure as well. Brian Hoyer called to start in this one, his first start since 2016, because he sucks. Did not last very long as he was knocked out with a concussion in the first quarter. Third string rookie Bailey Zappe rather, stepped in and had a respectable day. 10 of 15, 99 yards. Nice touchdown to Devontae Smith. That was a really good play. Shouldn't have been a play, though. That was clearly about 5 seconds too late on a delay of game call. Uh, so Brian Hoyer stepping in to fill in for Mac Jones. I think that pretty much we all kind of knew coming into this. If you're, you know, this is going to be a running game. I think for the Patriots, I think we all knew that, and I think that's what they kind of did. And Brian Hoyer, who really understands the offense but just can't execute it because he sucks, actually did a pretty good job game planning. And then he got knocked out. And then the entire world, in my mind, got either really excited or lit on fire because rookie fourth rounder Bailey Zappe came in to fill in for Brian Hoyer. Actually, did a pretty good job. I was actually pretty impressed today from the quarterback's position, even with Brian Hoyer being there for as limited as he was.
Yeah, I mean, listen, going 10 to 15 for 99 yards, and a touchdown. That was a nice little touch pass that he threw to Devontae Parker to get that touchdown in the third quarter, which that was one of their two best drives of the day. And yeah, Hoyer has some nice passes earlier. Once again, I don't think they really would have won regardless. Not granted, I know they ended up staying in the game. I wanted them to give Zappe a chance anyway. So, and I talked about that when we did the show last week, after the loss to the Ravens. So, yeah, I mean, I think if he gets some more reps this week in practice with the first team, despite who was out there, I think that, we'll see more of what he can do. And once again, to be thrown into the road, especially at Lambeau Field, you're you automatically get thrown into a duel against Aaron Rodgers, who, had a subpar first half, but then he caught fire in the second half. So, once again, he held his own for what they allowed him to do, but at the end of the day, it was really the run game, as you mentioned, that really was the catalyst for the offense. And, that's a tribute to some players that Matt Patricia was calling. It's a tribute to the offensive line, doing what they have been done at times all year, which is really dominate the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, I was pleased for what I saw from Harris. I was pleased for what I saw from Stevenson. That right now is the focal point with the injuries. So, they have to be kind of what they were in 2020, which was a top 5 run offense, and that's okay, for now. They just have to find a way to mix up the play calling and, tailor it to whoever's gonna be behind center, because if not, there's gonna be a lot of these type performances, where they're in it, but then, the other team on the other side finds its a way to get the job done. So, but once again, overall, it was decent to see what he did to come in there. I think that he'll be better next week if he is named the starter early in the week. And like I said, I'm excited to see that. Once again, they have nothing to lose at this moment. They are literally playing with house money. There is no expectations. If there are expectations, there shouldn't be because this is not a great team. They're below average. Um, but at this moment, like I said, they're playing with house money, so they should be able to just let him sling it and just see what they have in him as a quarterback.
Do you know what a mirror match is, Ray?
You said mirror match, you said?
Yeah. Do you know what a mirror match is?
No.
Let's say we're playing Madden, right? And to uh I decided to play with the Patriots, and we go into an online match. I decided to play with the Patriots. You decided to play with the Patriots.
Mhm.
Basically, playing on the same team, right?
Yep.
That's what I felt today was going on with the Green Bay Packers because I felt like these two teams were extremely similar in not extremely similar situations, but the way they're built right now, they were
Mhm.
had to play extremely similar because both teams had to come in today and just rely on the running backs because the Green Bay Packers situation, we know what it is right now with their wide receiver core. Of course, trading Devontae Adams to the Raiders during the offseason, now dealing with Randall Cobb's old ass and a bunch of rookies at
Mhm.
the wide receiver position. Patriots just don't have the talented wide quarterback right now to compete with Aaron Rodgers. Not that many teams do, but I feel like we came in, both teams selected the same playbook, and we're like, all right, let's see who can, outrush the other one.
Right.
Um, I felt like that was the way for most of this game. I actually felt like the Patriots outplayed the Packers for at least the first half. Jack Jones had a great interception too.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers sucked the
Yeah.
first half.
Yeah, no, he was special. He was special this today, and like I said, Jack Jones was special. Marcus Jones was good in the return game. Um, I love what I saw from them today. But yeah, yeah, AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are their best skill players on offense now outside of Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, they have to utilize them a lot, and they had them on the field, so you didn't know who was getting the balls or whether it was 33, whether it was 28, and they just did whatever they had to do in order to, get that, get their offense going. So once again, they had them reeling in the first half, but like I said, I guess once they regrouped in the second half, they found a way to, you know, get enough offense in order to win the game, and that's exactly what they did.
Packers said in the preseason that they were going to involve Romeo Dobbs a lot more than any normal wide receiver rookie would be normally thrown in there. And I actually thought that he's had a very, very good start to the season. I think he's going to have a very good career. He should have had 2 touchdowns today. He also had a fumble, but that's
Yeah.
second touchdown should have put this game away. But of course, he couldn't pull it in, so that kept the Patriots in the game. Um, it's really hard for me to bash the Patriots because I really do feel like they were in this game for the majority of it. It's just the fact that this is where we are with this team right now, where I felt like in the coming into the season, we just knew they weren't going to be good. We just knew they weren't going to be that good. They weren't going to be that talented. Um,
Yeah, but the only game they've been out of it was the Miami one, like,
yep,
that so to me, they easily could be 2-2,
sure.
and there are a few
I
places.
thought they could have won today.
Right, and I said, so there are a few places being 2-2. I mean, dare I say maybe even 3-1, which would have been an oversell at this moment. So, yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. But I'm we're in the land of mediocrity, and we're at a point now where we're saying it like how you just said, like, oh, like, well, can't be that mad at them. That's just what it is. So, um, I I I don't know. I said I'm not pleased with the moral victory talk that I'm hearing. We heard it on the post game show on NBC Sports Boston, where Tommy Curran and Ted Johnson were like, "Oh well, this is a moral victory. Like they really, they played for overtime, and you can't be mad about that. You're on the road, and no one expected you to even be in that game. Go for the kill." Now I get that Bailey Zappe didn't have a great throw when they tried to put in his hand late in the game, so that might have that might have gave them a reason to pause there. I get that. Um, but I would love to see a little bit more, just trying trusting him in the moment to say, you know what, we have to lose here. Let's just see what you can do. I'd see some play action today. Remember, you talked about everything.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah,
Yeah. So there was a lot of play action today that I was like, oh, I forgot how nice that looks when the run game looks decent. And then it was kind of like he had a few glitches with the play action, but it was almost like he was showing his hand, and he was like, "Oh, I went too far back here. Whoops!" And then I'm gonna go and throw it. So, but it was nice, on the play to Aguilar. I forget the other one that was very successful, but the one that Aguilar came to mind. So it was cool to see them switch up, from the zone back to the power run, back to zone, because the offensive line caught a group there. But I know you wanted to add on something about the RPO going to play action.
yeah. This is what I'm still just very frustrated with the play calling, even though I felt like it's been better the last 2 weeks. It's
Mhm.
just that they're still trying to figure this whole thing out. They don't really know what offense they want to. Uh, they don't really. They're trying to figure out what offense works in, and I feel like this is something that should have been done during, I don't know, the preseason or mini camp or stuff
Right, exactly. Mhm.
during the off season. But maybe it's one of those things where it's just so frustrating, man, because I've been a New England fan for so long, and I just have to keep trying to defend this team, and I know I shouldn't, but I always do. Be like, this is the way the Patriots run it. With like everything comes down to the fact that Tom Brady was here for 20 years,
Mhm.
and he was able to pretty much any mistake the Patriots made, he was able to erase it.
Right.
But the fact he's gone now, these mistakes become so glaring. And now
Mhm.
we can talk. Now I can understand how ridiculous it sounds that, you know, well, they treat the first 4 games as training, extra preseason games, the first 4 weeks of the season, and they're still just trying to figure out things out. These are regular season games, man. These records matter. You
Right,
look
and
at
that look, it's
all the
that
1 and 3, the season basically over.
Yeah, no, exactly, but it shows how cocky of a fan base we have become, right?
Sure, sure.
And the fact that I mean, once again, when you win 6 in 20 years, like, that's pretty special, so, I mean,
Never happened again.
yeah, we won't see that again in any era, regardless of what people think of Mahomes or anybody else, like, you're not seeing 6 in that amount of time, let alone getting to 10 Super Bowls, like, that's just not like, you tell me half the time he was here, they was in the Super Bowl, like, that's incredible, to me, so it is what it is, but yeah, I don't know, man, it's just it's a lot that's going on there, and it's just like, um, I
It's just yeah,
I'm not pleased with where they are right now.
any other team in the NFL, this would not be acceptable. Any owner would be like, "You're treating the first 4 games as preseason games? You're this
Right,
far into the season, you still don't know what play calling you're gonna do? You're this
right,
far into the season, you still trying to figure out what your playbook's gonna be? That's not an acceptable thing." Tom Brady's not here anymore. You got Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is pretty good. I thought he had a pretty good year this last year. He's clearly taken a step back this year.
right.
He hasn't looked good. He looked good in the last game before he got his ankle injury. He threw 3 interceptions, has only thrown 2 touchdowns this year. Yeah, he let them down for 3 touchdown drives, but he's clearly taken a step back. He's thrown into triple coverage like it's nobody's business.
Mhm.
That's his new favorite thing to do is throw into triple coverage. His vision has been awful. I just have to scale it back that he's got a brand new playbook, brand new offensive coaches, and you just been given a brand new playbook to be like, all right, everything you did last year, forget it. And now it's I guess I put a lot of that blame on Mac Jones too, because the fact he's not throwing Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith anymore, and he's actually
Mhm.
throwing like Nelson Aguilar, Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne when he's out there, stuff like that. But the blame goes on everybody. This team is
Right.
1-3 for the second year in a row. I don't think you're going to be able to come back like you did last year. I understand you got, I don't know, what, 6, 7 straight games now of teams
Yeah.
at or under 500. But
There's no gimme games on the schedule, like, for 20 years, we were able to look at maybe at least half the games and say, "Okay, that's a win there, that's a win there." You know, that's gonna be a tough game, but that should be a win. Like, there's no gimme game. So the fact that, and I get that they have to say what they need to say in order to have people tune in and listen. I get that. But it's to me, it's not smart to say that it's a cupcake schedule the next 5 or 6 games. Yeah, on paper, sure. If you want to go that route and say that it's a cupcake schedule, sure, fine, whatever. However, the reality is there's nothing that can be assumed with this team at all. And if we think so, we're sadly mistaken. This team has had that they have to have everything go right in order for them to win. Everything. They cannot afford to miss pieces. They cannot afford to have many penalties. They cannot afford to have many turnovers. And once again, I know people listen to say, well, what team can? Well, guess what? Even when there was times when we had 2 picks or we had multiple penalties, instead of winning 30 to 15, okay, we went 30 to 27. But at the end of the day, it was still this here. And I won't go full Jameis Winston. Well,
I was about to do it.
we won't, we're not eating any W's. We're not eating any, we're eating probably more crab legs than we are actually wins. You know what I'm saying? So they're probably going to Skipjacks, which is right up there on Patriot Place, probably eating more lobster and crabs at Skipjacks than they're getting W's on the field. So that needs to change going into Detroit week, and we'll have more coverage for you on that as the week progresses. Probably with yours truly and our other Patriot aficionado, Joe Melkin. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, man, like once again, there's no gimme wins, and I'm tired of people acting like as if they should like Ted Johnson. They should go 4-2 in the next 6. Once again, Ted, you were a very decent player here. You had your issues with CTE and some other stuff. Maybe this is where it's setting in. They're not going 4-2 in the next 6. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. I'm sorry. No, 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 because it's just like I'm not trusting Brian Hoyer. And then once again, I don't trust that they're gonna let Bailey Zappe really grow into the role. Then I don't trust that. So like I said, unless Mac is coming back because he's healthy, but I'm like, yo, an ankle injury is not something to play around with, especially when it's your plant foot. And once again, you can go back and listen to the interview that Craig did with Doctor Jessica Flynn, who works with the Boston Sports Journal. Like, once again, you can go back and listen to that, the show from last week. It was a great show. You cannot play on. You're welcome. You can play. You can play with some other things that may nag. An ankle injury is not one of them. I'm telling you, for someone who got his ankle damn near shattered last year, and yes, Mac didn't get his ankle shattered, but a sprain is just as bad as a brick at times. Because you don't know how long it's actually going to heal, and it is actually a torn ligament. Once again, not a doctor, but Dr. Flynn definitely helped me out by listening to by so I learned a lot by listening to what she mentioned. So yes, we hope that he can be back in a few weeks. But to me, prepare for the Bailey Zappe hour for right now. It's okay. Once again, we did it with Matt Castle. That's the only other quarterback we've seen. So why not? Did a little Jacoby Brissett, a little Jimmy G. So why not see what Bailey Zappe can do? I do think people are scared, to see if he does play well, what would happen. My answer and my response to that is, oh fucking well. I care about the wins. I don't care who's behind center. Once again, do I like Mac Jones? Yes. Do I believe Mac Jones can be successful in this league? Yes. The name on the front means more than the name on the back.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like that with the Patriots. I'm like that with the Celtics. I'm like that with the Red Sox. I'm like that with the Bruins. And if I cared about the Revolution, I'd be like that with them too. You know what I'm saying? So, just being honest. So it's about the name on the front, not the name on the back. So I'm concerned about, can the TEAM team, as in team, can they win and put the best product on the field? That's what Mr. Kraft is paying you for, Bill. I'm bringing it back. It's 20 years. It's 20 years later since you made. 21 years later since you made that decision. So maybe we get a part two, and if we do, oh well. Because once again, we get here, Bill said to say tonight, your Patriots are world champions. I'm projecting that's not going to happen, but a man can dream.
I'm happy you brought up the Mac Jones injury because Albert Breer was on with Bertrand and Gasper today on Patriots pregame on 98.5. And
Mm,
he reported that there seems to be some kind of rift between Mac Jones and the Patriots coaching staff, medical staff, somewhere in there,
mm,
about really the best way to go about treating his ankle. And that's I've heard that on back channels as well. As they say, we call those gray sources or gray
mm.
check marks or something like that. I don't have an official source on that, but it's what I hear through the grapevines. Um, I have to think that the Patriots, when they saw that injury to Mac Jones last week, are trying to protect their long-term investment with Mac, and they wanted them to get surgery, whether it was the tightrope, what everyone brought up, which is partly Dr. Jessica Flynn's fault as well, because she's the one that brought it up and got everyone on that bandwagon. I'm not blaming her.
Yeah,
It is what it is. A lot of players get that surgery, and a lot of players
right.
come back from really well. But it seems to me that Mac would just rather rehab this. And it seems like he got out on the practice field on Thursday or Friday, and he was actually able to practice somewhat limited. Obviously, red no contract, and he was obviously limping, even though he tried his best to hide it. But it looks like that he's when the injury happened, it looked awful. It
Right.
looked bad. He was playing hopscotch coming off the field and just
Mhm.
screaming and crying, being brought into the locker room. Don't blame him. I would too. But it just looked after that. Worst case scenario, obviously, it was an ankle injury to me, at least. I'm not a doctor, but it's what it looked like to me. And it looked bad. We talked this time last week. Probably gone for about a month, maybe 6
Right.
weeks, maybe 8. He's practicing again this week, so maybe they put Bailey Zappe out against. I think Hoyer's now third string. To be honest with you, I think Bailey Zappe didn't have to move up to unofficial second string on the quarterback depth chart. But
Right.
um, game against Detroit next Sunday, another 4:25 game against.
No, I think they moved up to one.
Oh, they moved to the one. Oh,
Yeah, and
right.
nobody wants to see that shit.
You know what? You know what?
Everyone wants to see the prime time, man. Like,
You know what?
I'm sorry, man. Like, it's just like, I mean, listen, I know Detroit was a part of a very entertaining game today.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. We'll get into a breakdown. but at some other point. But yeah, man, like when we talk about the trade later on in the week, but man, they that's once again I keep saying not to get me, but yeah, but then again, I listen. If Detroit scored 45 in it today, I guess that's like it's gonna be a problem because we're not gonna score 45 with them.
I I I don't think Detroit's going to do that.
I'm
Seattle's
just
just
saying, no answer for TJ Hawkinson, no answer for what I'm saying. So, and once again, we'll get into that. But I was like, man,
but
but oh my gosh, that's like I said, I'm already jumping ahead with that because I'm just thinking about Joe got me fired up with the comment he made. Joe really believes they're gonna go 9-4 the rest of the way, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I just once again, Joe, if you're right, I will buy you and the kids dinner. Like I would do it. Like that. So that is on the air. That is all wax. I cannot take that back. I will get you guys dinner. If the Patriots finish 10-7 this year, I will buy you and the kids the get dinner. Like because I just I don't see it. Once again, Joe, you didn't see it, bro. You told him. You told and I you talked to us in our group chat and they would go 6-11, maybe 7-10 at best. So I just don't know where the confidence is brewing from, unless you just want to give me a hard time. Because that's what brothers do. Brothers give each other a hard time, so maybe you just wanted to mess with me, which I totally get. But yeah, I'm just like, you don't believe that, like this, you don't believe that we're gonna go 9-4. Once again, I want to be proven wrong. I don't see a path to get to 10-7. Once again, I didn't see a path to get 10-7 last year, but at the same time, no two teams, no 2 weeks are the same. So there's a lot of things that have to unfold in order for them to get to that record. So if that's the case, I guess that means that the Bailey Zappe era, excuse me, has begun and he's starting to dominate. Once again, I'm concerned about the name on the front, not the name on the back.
you're listening to the 617 podcast right here, brought to you by the Crow Worthy Network, the voice of the Boston fans by the Boston fans right here. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and the bell. Craig Alexander, Rayshon Buchanan breaking down the Patriots 27-24 loss to the Green Bay Packers. This episode is being brought to you by BetUS.com, where you can get a 125% sign-on bonus by using the promo code CROW at checkout. This episode is also being brought to you by the fine folks over at benchclearers.com, an officially licensed NHL apparel brand. Authentic hockey apparel for fans all year long. You can get your favorite Bruin sweater in tank top form and your short form as well, so you can wear and rep your teams all season long. Exclusively to 617 podcasts, listeners can save 20% on your order when you use the promo code CROW at checkout. That's at benchclearers.com. Check the link in the description, bring you right to Bench Clears. Ray, any individual standouts for you today? I understand the team lost, but any individual things that you
Yeah,
like?
Jack Jones for sure. Jack Jones was phenomenal. Obviously, he had the pick six. I thought that he played great coverage, and I think he's becoming the number one corner on this team. And I know he's a rookie. I know, that usually, but I think, along with Duggar, eventually you're looking at the future of the secondary. And once again, Bill does it. Once again, although I want him as a coach, I acknowledge his acumen when it comes to building a defense, picking defensive players. He's usually able to do that. And like I said, Jack Jones has been, sensational. He proved that today. And then this is not individual, this is a group, but I thought the offensive line was amazing for the most part. So, those are two things that stand out.
I think Cole Strange has had actually pretty good first four games. I understand that we
Mhm.
shit on him all over the first four games, all of the first game in Miami about how awful he looked, and he did. He looked just
Right.
straight up bad. But I understand that offensive linemen don't really get talked about unless they do something bad. But Cole Strange
Right.
is great today. He was huge in that Damian Harris touchdown we saw earlier. That was really big on him, and that actually brings me directly to something that I really want to talk about, and that's I'm gonna go ahead and skip you. I'm gonna go ahead right to my low light. Isaiah Wynn fucking blows, dude.
Yep.
He is so bad.
Get him off the team. Get him off the team. And once
Hold on.
again, he's getting
I got
paid 10 million a year. 10 million a year. He's getting that's his cap hit. He's terrible. Like
it,
it's unbelievable.
it's his 5th year of his rookie deal. He had that option picked up at the end of the season. I understand why they did that. It's cheap money. You can't get offensive lineman for that cheap anymore. Today against the Green Bay Packers, 2 sacks allowed,
Uh-huh.
a holding penalty, a false start. That's 4 penalties in 4 games, penalty a game. Offensive linemen shouldn't get any penalties in the 17-game season. So he has been a liability all fucking game long. And besides the first game in Miami, this offensive line has been really, really good. He has been
Uh-huh.
the link. He has been uh, the well,
Weak
I
link.
can't think of the vernacular for it, but the bad part of the offensive line. He was actually benched.
Weak link. Yeah.
Yeah, the weak link. Thank you. Yeah, he
Mhm.
was benched in the 3rd quarter. I think Marcus Cannon, who was brought about the practice squad, filled in for him. He is going to get his quarterbacks fucking killed.
Yeah.
Fucking killed.
I mean, like, and the guy that was on him today, was it Gary? I think the guy on Green Bay.
Yeah,
I think that's the one that knocked out, Brian Hoyer, unfortunately. And then obviously that hit that Mac took. Now that's on Win, but that's also on Mac too, because you gotta feel the pressure, and I know sometimes it's easier said than done when you have a 260-pound guy running at you. I
sure.
get that. You gotta be able to feel that, slide over and then throw the ball away if you can. Or even just get the intentional grounding. It's better than you getting knocked out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm done with Win. I'm also done with Miles Bryant. I'm done. I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. Like, it's just the dude cannot play at this level. He just can't. He can't. Not consistently. Maybe put him on special teams. But the fact that he's out there,
No, he'll fumble the ball. He'll fumble.
no, let him be a runner. Let him be someone that's just chasing the ball down. Like, get him off the field when plays that really matter the most. Because one of the play I'm thinking about in my mind right now is the 3rd down they went to Randall Cobb, and I think Aaron Rodgers probably salivated. He was foaming at the mouth when he saw, oh my God, I got a one-on-one at the top with Randall Cobb and going against Miles Bryant. What? This is a no-brainer, you know? And with the flick of a wrist, whoop, and that's another first down. It's like that Green Bay Packers. Like it was so predictable where they were going anytime he was on the field. And truth be told, because we talked about it in the group chat too, what happened with PFF. Yo, Jonathan Jones, bro. Like, I mean, you had a couple plays to redeem yourself a little bit, but your ass was getting torched. You was on the candle, big dog. Like, you was getting lit. You was getting lit up by guys that aren't proven outside of Alan Lazard. Once again, Christian Watson had a good game because I think they had a good play. They had some good plays to scheme him up and get him involved in the offense. But Romeo Dobbs was out there looking like Antonio Freeman. The fuck is going on? I mean, granted, like you said, he had touchdowns that could have been, that could have been called back or whatever. But you know, listen, I thought for sure they was gonna call that a touchdown. I did, and I know Tony Romo would have had a fucking aneurysm on TV because Jim Nance tried to dance around it, but I'm like, nah, Jim, everyone knows. Tony Romo would have been like, really? Oh, so this is now a catch, but when my guy when my guy throws it, I throw it to Dez, and Dez came down the same way. You're telling me that's not a catch? So I know that would have been poetic justice in that way for that to happen. I would have loved to see him spin it on national TV to say, "Oh, it was the right call." BS, bullshit. That's not the right call, and that was the case. So I'm glad, that it didn't go in their favor. But yeah, Jonathan Jones, he got torched. So I said, Jack Jones to me is the guy of the future. I think was Duggar out there or did Duggar play? I didn't
Nope,
hear Duggar.
Duggar played. He had Duggar. They had 3 tackles and 2 solo tackles.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm just like, but I didn't hear his name too often, but yeah, I don't know. But like I said, I'm fine with you skipping to low lights because that was there. But yeah, Isaiah Wynn and Miles Bryant, those are 2 names that need to be replaced immediately. Once again, if they find a job elsewhere, great, more power to them. I no longer want to see them in the red, blue, and white. I no longer care for their development here, because they're not developing. They both suck. They blow. They're subpar. Whatever word you want to associate with them that's negative, do so. They deserve all the slander as what they did on the field. Once again, we're not attacking the character. We're talking about the player. The play on the field sucked. So, come as part of as part of the Patriot delegation. You know, all in favor of Isaiah Wynn and Miles Bryant meet up the team. Say I. Like that's just what it is. Like I'm in favor. Craig, I know you're in favor. So bang your imaginary gavel. It is so it is adjourned. Court is adjourned because it's out of control, man. It's out of control. They're killing the
Matt
team.
Judon, Matt Judon 5 tackles, an extra sack today. Christian Barmore 4 tackles. Dietrich Wise 4 tackles. Another solid showing for the front seven for the Patriots.
Yeah. Shout out to our guy Bobby for placing putting that there.
Gotcha also 6 tackles.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to our guy Bobby. For shouting us out about the front seven. Yeah, the front seven is real. They are. When they missed Lawrence Guy today, I think Lawrence Guy would have made some plays.
Yeah.
They missed him in action, but yeah, the front seven is real. Once again, I said this in the preseason special. The defense was there. The defense has been the reason why they've been even involved in games. So I know sometimes I said Miami was I'll be listening. If we see what Waddle and Hill doing the defenses, that to me it shouldn't count. Like that the fact that we held them to 20, what they've been able to do. So I'm like, I will take I would take solace, I would take peace, and that we only allowed 20 points. And it really was 13 because one of it was a fumble. So I would take 13 points against that offense. So we're good, but yeah, I don't know, man. I like I said to me, there probably was some more lows that we're missing, but like I said, those are the
Sure.
those were the top two for sure. Um, but those listen, I'm happy. Listen, Judon make me happy every week. I know you said you reserve your judgment. It won't matter to week 13 because they may not
Yeah.
be even in contention by that time. So sorry, let me say that back. Not me. They won't be. And once again, I'm not saying this is a hot take. This is what I feel at the moment. So once again, of course, things are subject to change. So yes, feel free to leave comments. Feel free to say, man, that guy Ray Shaw was wrong. Yes. Once again, you're not the one making the takes on the air. I am. So I'm saying what I feel in the moment. I'm gonna be reactionary. I'm not gonna sit back and wait until we told it like, let me make an informed decision. Well, now over 12 games, we're 3-9. I think they're done. No, I'm at week 4, and then being 1-3. Once again, Brian Cox is not walking through that door. Drew Bledsoe's not running to that sideline. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady is not sitting on the sideline chilling with his double chin. Not there. It's funny how that went away over years too, but that's another. you know, he's not there. Vinatieri now. So there's a lot of different pieces now walking through that door. Mostly I want to thank Rick Pitino for giving us that
Oh, yeah.
tip, being able to use that years later. Rick, we appreciate you. That was the biggest thing you did for the Celtics, but your pressure lives on in infamy.
Patriots fall the Green Bay Packers 27-24 in overtime, fall 2-1 and 4 on the season. We'll have more on the matchup with the Lions.
Are you
Yeah.
predicting? You said they fall to 1-4. Are you predicting they're going to go to 1-4?
Did I say 1-4? I meant 1.
Yeah, they 1-3.
No,
Man, the subconscious talks with if you learn in psychology, the id, the ego, the super ego, the superconscious knows, man. They're gonna go 1-4. That's why you're saying it, Craig. You understand. You smart.
I'll
We went to school together. I know.
Well, Ray, if there's one thing that you know about me, I don't like to make predictions. I really hate doing that, but
I love it.
we predicted that they would be 1-3 at this point. They are 1-3 at this point. They are what they are. I think they are better than they look. It's just that running into some really tough opponents early in the season, tough injuries, bad play calling. Matt Patricia, Joe Judge
Oh,
still trying to figure out how to call
so
out
let
there.
me give him his fault. You kind of did last week. I'm gonna give it to him today. So for 2 drives today, as the kids would say, Matt Patricia was in his fucking bag. Them back-to-back drives to go from 10 points to 17, and then from 17 to 24, Matt Patricia was in his bag offensively. The play calling was phenomenal on those back-to-back drives to score.
Mhm.
And I said, "Oh," I said, "This is what an offense looks like." Well, damn, Matt. I said, "This is all right, Matt." I said, this we can accept this, Matt. We can, as fans, win or lose, we can accept you calling plays like that.
Yeah, but that goes back to
And
what I was saying earlier. Why didn't they figure this out during
with the
preseason?
pen in the air, like that, we can accept that, Matt, if you calling plays like that. The problem is you don't stick with it, and then it's like, well, everything falls on me, guys. Oh, fuck that. It falls on everyone. Everyone.
The problem with that for me is why did it take 4 weeks for them to figure it out? Why didn't they figure it out during preseason? Why didn't they
Bro,
figure it out
no,
during training camp?
you're right. You're right. But I don't know. Listen, it's better late than never. And once again, we don't want it to be week 14, obviously, before they start clicking completely. Well, I mean, it depends on what their record is. If they're 9-5, like you want them to start clicking. But that's not going to be the case. But if that's the case, great. But I just think for us to see that glimpse, it's like, oh, they are actually working on something.
Dude, this team is talented, man. There's talent all over this team. They're going to be competitive in a lot of these games this year that they are going to end up losing. Matt Judon, Jonnu Smith left in the game with an ankle injury. We'll see how that turns out. Tight ends obviously haven't been that big of an impact on with the Patriots' offense so far this
But
season.
I think that actually helped today. It helped that he got hurt. And
Sure.
once again, I'm not wishing any I hope we wishing him a speedy, and speedy recovery, but him getting hurt was allowed Marcus Cannon to be in the game. And that helped the protection because they was getting rocked. I mean, whoever was back there was getting rocked. So unfortunately, John Smith goes down. They're able to make Marcus Cannon the tight end, aka the 6th offensive lineman, and it helped. So hey, if you got to go jumbo package down the field, okay, fine. Or Maddie, they call it full house, fine, okay. I'm with it. And then maybe you have Harris and Stevenson in the backfield the same way that AJ Dillon and what was I about to say? I was about to say Thomas Jones. I don't know why I'm thinking about Thomas Jones.
Aaron
Um,
Jones?
Aaron Jones, yeah, I don't want to think about Thomas Jones. Or they're not. They're definitely not somewhere running back. Like Thomas
Right,
Jones was
right,
not
right.
was not the kind of Aaron Jones was. So,
Yeah.
and vice versa. So, yeah. So maybe on them, I would look at what did Green Bay run this week that we can implement going into the week against Detroit. I think having both of them out the backfield with single run, and then you can pick which one you want to throw it to. You can give it to them in the backfield. You can maybe run a blow play action where Henry's running a seam down the middle, or Aguilar's running that route that he caught from Zappe, that was a really nice play. I was like, wow, a wide receiver creating separation. I said it's a naughty concept, but I like it. I really like it. So I want to see more of that. But like I said, I had to give credit to Matt Patricia in that regard. Once again, I still don't want him as an offensive coordinator, but once again, we're going to be impartial. We're going to be, we're going to give, just analysis, a fair analysis. For those 2 drives, when they went up and took the lead, he was in his bag offensively. And all we implore, all we ask, all we beg of you, Matt Patricia, aka Crazy Evil Twin, just
Not anymore.
do more. For now, it's gonna be back soon.
Well, yeah.
It'll be
I
back
I
soon. Yeah.
I
Honestly, it'll be back by the time we do the Detroit show. It'll
well,
be back.
unfortunately, I have been, mandated by, let's say a parental unit to be clean shaven for my brother's wedding this weekend. So
Gotcha.
I trimmed it off the other day just so I could get accustomed to it. And
Yeah.
now I'm just waiting till like Thursday for like to actually like, ah, ah, ah. And
Oh, you're not entertained. I know.
I'm not
I need to come mine too, man. I need to come mine
yeah,
too.
yeah. So we'll have more on the Patriots coming up later this week with Joe and Rayshawn as well. Mike will be back soon. Mike's not gone. Mike's on his honeymoon. Mike will be coming back very soon. But
Don't
we'll
come
have
back
more on
to the
them coming
bullshit,
up.
Mike. Don't come back to it. Let's talk Celtics when you come back, Mike. Don't unleash on this shit. Well, actually, no. Actually, we need Mike. We might need Mike. We need a classic Mike rant on
Right.
this. I'm sure.
Oh, I'm
I'm
sure
sure
he'll
he
have
kept
plenty of
up.
it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll kept. I'm sure he's kept up through his phone to an extent. So
Oh,
he's seen enough to know, what to catch up on and what to speak on in regards to New England. So I look forward to that happening.
you're listening to the 617 podcast. I'm Craig D'Alessandro. That is Ray Sean Buchanan. This episode is being brought to you by BetUS.com. You get a 125% sign-on bonus by using the promo code CROW at sign-up. This episode is also being brought to you by our friends over at BenchClearers.com, an officially licensed NHL apparel brand. You can get your authentic hockey apparel all year long. Get your favorite Bruins sweaters in tank top form and shorts form, and you can rep your teams all season long. We're going to go and finally break away from the Patriots now if you're listening on the podcast. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of Celtics. Was it their first preseason game?
Yep, first piece. Yep.
First preseason game today, beating who'd they beat? The Pacers?
They beat the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, the
34
Charlotte
to
Hornets.
93. Yep.
So when we come back after this break with BetUS.com, we'll be talking about the Boston Celtics. Yay, we'll be right back on the podcast. And if you're still on the stream and on YouTube, we're still right here. So I'm still on the Patriots. The Celtics win 134-93 against the Charlotte Hornets. Jaylen Brown, 24 points. Jason Tatum, 16 points. Malcolm Brogdon, 11 points, 9 assists. He led the team. Lineup came out early before the game started, and I was a little bit surprised. I know they've been feeding us this whole line all
Mhm,
offseason long, but I kind of
mhm.
expected Malcolm Brogdon to be in the starting five.
Yeah, I know. You and DK did it. I told y'all. I told y'all that the fact they kept saying it so much. Like I just figured like there might be moments where he does start. There may be, but I think for now, I wasn't thinking Derek White knows the system because he's already been there for half a
Sure.
season, and then so there's still guys in that branch that was there. So with Missoula, Damon Stoudemire, and some other guys that are there. I know they spoke briefly to Jay Larinaga, but he chose to stay out in LA with Tyronn Lue. So that ship has sailed. But yeah, Malcolm Brogdon, as we talked about before we came on, he is the playmaker that they have been missing with the second unit. And there was a lot of times where he was bringing up the floor, and his pace is what stood out to me the most. And once again, you just alluded to it. We just went down the stat line. He had 9 assists that led the team. That's going to be huge when there's guys that are not scoring the way they usually score, when the shots are not falling. Once again, they were killing it from 3 today, but that's not always going to be the case. There was a lot of slashing, a lot of cutting, and I think that starts with Brogdon on the second unit. There's a lot of guys getting easy baskets, and excuse me, although it was preseason, it was game 1 of the preseason. I loved to see the cohesiveness I saw on the offensive end. And like I said, Jaylen Brown was phenomenal from the start. He showed something today where it was like a pull-up three. It was like from the left side of the floor, and I was like, "Oh, that wasn't in the game last year. That wasn't there. That was not something he could do." So, and it was smooth. It looked clean. Like it was something where it was like, "Oh, why are you doing this?" It was like it looked like his mentor, Tracy McGrady. I was like, "Whoa!" Like that's something that he's gonna be doing this season. Whew. I'm like, in the words of Mike, there's a lot of tacticians that's going to be used because that's going to be phenomenal to see what he could do. Yeah, he was just sensational. Tatum had some bright spots, but yeah, I was really happy about Brogdon. Sam Hauser was great, man. I think he had 14 points, made all of his threes. So we're hoping he can fill the role of what Gallinari was supposed to do here. I'm hoping he fills the Duncan Robinson role. I feel like we have mixed feelings about Duncan Robinson on the show. I think some of us think he can play. Some of us think that he can't play, and that's okay. Regardless, we all know, all 6 of us know he can shoot. And, he can shoot lights out. So I think that Sam Hauser showed today that if he gets more reps, he can be a guy that can be counted on in some moments. Not someone that's going to start or whatever and be a 6 man in the league, but definitely someone that can give you 8 to 10 minutes a night and maybe knock down 2 or 3 threes.
I'm going to get back to the Malcolm Brogdon thing now. He came off the bench, played with the second unit. He
Mhm,
actually led the team in minutes played. He played 24 minutes, tied with Jaylen Brown for the most on the team.
mhm.
That's good, right?
What, that Malcolm Brogdon led the team in minutes?
That he's playing as often as he should be?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know if he was hurt towards the end of the year with Indiana, so maybe they're trying to work on his conditioning, so
Well,
I'm not sure with that. So
that
that's
was
what it
kind of
could
his
be.
thing in Indiana, though, that he was always hurt. He couldn't get through a full season.
Yeah, and I mean, exactly, right, but I do think they just wanted to see how he was gonna look with guys that were coming off the bench, and because whenever Smart wasn't in there, he was in there. Sometimes he played with White, sometimes he played with Smart as well, but they gave him a lot of moments where they just said, "Hey, it's your show, run it," and he just gets he just gets basketball. He gets it. He knows where to pick his spots, and he wasn't overshooting it. The jump shot was per like I said, he was kind of it was slow offensively for him, like, and then he had maybe like 3 or 4 points in the first half, but then got a few baskets of late, but he just knows how to find the right guy. There was one play in particular where if you look at the NBC Sports Boston Instagram page where he's running down the middle, and I'm thinking that he's going to force it to go get a layup. He sees Grant in the corner of his left eye, does a skip pass like Vince Carter, boom, finds Grant in stride. And that's key. That's it. In stride, not someone not falling out of bounds, not in stride. Grant it hits Grant, damn, in his hands. Grant shoots. And and as is as say some say in the streets, it was straight draws. Or in the words of Randy Moss, straight cash on me. Like it was straight cash. So if those are the type of players that are being made where you're setting guys up, because the pass is just as important as a shot. For some people that play basketball, you know that the pass is just as important as a shot. And I got really excited. And people was like, why are you doing yourself with passes? I'm like, listen, we didn't have this type of playmaker in the second unit. And even though Derek White is someone who gets rid of the ball quickly, he's not the passer that Brogdon is. So I'm just excited to see what those guys do because they're going to be the guards off the second unit unless Derek White chooses to start, which I don't think he's. I mean, he may start right away. He may be the guy that starts. Because obviously Hartford becomes the one big. So, but yeah, I did. But to the original question, I just think that they're trying to get with his conditioning, and they want to
Yeah.
get as many looks with him for the second half. Maybe he doesn't play as much Wednesday, which is why they gave him the 24 minutes too. So that could be something why he got the minutes. But overall, I was pleased with his performance. I think we're gonna see more of those nights where it's the 11 points, 9 assists, or even maybe even 20 points and 9 assists. So very crisp performance on his behalf, in my opinion.
I'll tell you why I bring that up, because I just look at Malcolm Brogdon on the bench. It just does not make me extremely comfortable, because I just look at the potential on this team,
Mhm,
and at any time on the floor, at any time, you could have Tatum,
mhm,
Al Horford,
yep,
Mark, Brown, and Malcolm Brogdon. That's 5 All-Stars you could have on the floor at any time against any team, which I imagine they're going to want in the final 5 minutes during most of these games during the season, and I imagine that'll be their lineup, because I know Brogdon talked during training camp about
mhm,
him and Smart being on the floor at the same time and, causing havoc, whatever he called it.
right.
And, to me, that's gonna be something that I don't think that they're gonna be able to resist. Like, that's just too much. you know, I understand his health situation, but that's just too much
Right.
talent in the last 5 minute things. And I understand I'm not a basketball coach, and maybe that's what they planned from the beginning. But as just a second unit guy, I don't think that's going to work for him. I think
So
you're going to
what
see
what's
people
so
swinging.
let me ask you this then. What's more important to you then? So is it more important for him to start the game and be with that starting unit? Or like you just alluded to, is it important for him to still be the sixth man but get starter like rotation minutes? So
That'll
if
be
he's
fine.
been yeah, so if he's getting 30 minutes a night, right? If he's getting 30 minutes a night still, which is that's around started minutes, he's part of that start. He's part of that depth lineup that we'll call at the end of the night. So if it's him, this gonna be nights where it's Rob, and then it's gonna be nights when it's just Al. Um, so I think to me, if you do Smart at the one, Brogdon at the two, Jalen at the three, Tatum at the four, and then either Al or Rob at the five. Yeah, that's a very, very good closing lineup. I think opening night, we won't see that unless we'll get into that whenever we have our Celtics season preview, because you're gonna need Rob's not gonna be out there, but you're gonna need bigs against Joel Embiid. Like you will need everybody to guard Joel Embiid. So that's another monster in itself. But no, I
They're
wouldn't
pretty
get
small.
I would
They're
I
pretty
wouldn't get
small right now, the Celtics, aren't they?
Say that again.
They are pretty small right now, the Celtics, aren't they?
Yes, and I think that's why they made the Blake Griffin signing.
Mhm.
Obviously he's not
Glad
something
you
that's
brought
going
that
to
up.
kind of he is a power forward, obviously, and I do think he's going to spell some of those minutes for Al early on. Speaking of
Yeah,
big
he
men,
sucks.
go ahead.
He sucks.
So
This ain't
oh,
2014 anymore.
okay, so that's there's a lot of people that's going to have that take, and my response is you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not. We're not going to see the guy that was dunking over Timothy Mozgov. We're not going to see the guy, that could do the between the lazy. Like, oh my god, a guy at 6'10" should not be able to do that. 'Cause I just watched the game from him when he was in Detroit a few years ago. Actually, it was against Philadelphia. I think it was his last 50-point game. 50 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists. And I was like, oh my, and this is where people thought he was done. And this is 3 years ago. And I was like, oh my God. Like it was crazy to still see him do behind, between the legs. He was giving great passes to guys on Detroit. So we'll never see that guy again. But I wanted, I was hoping that we had a show that talked about this, regardless of who I was on the air with. What if, and this is crazy to say, and I'm only saying this because maybe they played for the same team and they had crazy injury histories, and people thought that this guy was done too when he came to Boston, when they won the championship. What if Blake Griffin became
Okay.
a new era Bill Walton?
Oh, thank God. Thought you were gonna say Rashid.
Well, I mean, they got to the finals for Rashid, so but they got to the finals for Rashid. So, and Rashid played
Good example of tribute, though.
played on the playoffs. So that I'd rather, and that's a scenario we get back to the finals. That was a success, but
Yeah.
that's another topic for another day. But what if he became Bill Walton? Once again, Bill Walton was the guy coming out of UCLA. Someone that was you know slaughtered by injuries, missed a couple years, was also the guy that was bringing back the Clippers. He played for the Clippers, played for, um, obviously, he wasn't the guy that he was to Portland by the time he got to Boston, but they bring him in as a six man and they go 67-15 and run through the East. And then they smack the Houston Rockets for the second time in 5 years to win at the time their 16th NBA championship. So maybe that's what it is because Bill Walton was unreal before the knee injuries. Unreal. All you have to do is go back and watch Hardwood Classics, watch the 7-7 finals against Philadelphia, when Jack Ramsey was leading them. And I can't think this. Jeez, that's football. Maurice Lucas, excuse me. Maurice Lucas, rest of those guys, once again, don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but Bill Walton was a hell of a player before the injuries, and he became a hell of a six man for the Celtics, even though his knees were shot at that time. If you want to get the videos, he got double knee braces on it, like on both knees, like he's lumbering up the floor. So if he could be a glimpse of that, I think that'd be a success. And we really got Blake Griffin for the regular season. Like I don't envision him being much of a guy come postseason. If he is, that's a bonus. But once again, you're only looking for 10 to 15 minutes a night. Like I think in that role, he can produce still.
All I'm
So
asking for Blake Griffin is him not to be what he was on the Nets last year. Because
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
that first playoff series against the Nets last year, when basically the game plan for the Celtics was, where's Blake Griffin playing? Put somebody on him and have him score 30, 40 points a game. And that's how you're looking. Because if that's
I mean,
not, if that's,
no, I mean, listen. You're right.
did Jaylen Brown have like the game of the century against Blake Griffin?
No, he was one more. No, Craig, listen. You're not.
Put the pound on him.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not here to disagree with you. I'm not. You were right on with what you're saying. It was barbecue chicken. It was. It was on the grill. You were not wrong. But I will say offensively, because if you remember, so obviously Boston swept the series, obviously, but the first two games were kind of back and forth, and it was like, man, is Steve Nash gonna make any adjustments going back to Brooklyn? Like, what's going on? And in that game 3, He was like, "Oh, I have a 6-time All-Star on the bench that can maybe give me some offense." And that's exactly what happened. He came in there, 'cause I remember my boy Leo texted me like, he's like, "Is Blake Griffin having a renaissance? I guess is right now." And I was like, "That's what the fuck it looks like." And he hit like 3 or 4 shots in a
Yeah,
row. And I'm like,
yeah.
"What is going on?" All you hear was timeout Celtics. And I'm like, "Wait a minute, like, are we letting 2014 Blake resurface on us here?" So that I got a little nervous when I saw him making those jumpers, but thankfully it was too late in the series because we'd already figured them out and already broke their spirits, so to speak. So, that was that. But yes, I am with you. It was definitely hunting season on defense when he was out there. You were not wrong, Craig. I'm like, that's one of the more on spot things you said about in basketball. Like you were right. You were not wrong. He was. It was
Right.
definitely hunting season, and I think we'll find ways to hide him on defense because the Nets collectively weren't great defensively. We have the best defensive team in all the NBA,
Sure.
and honestly, it was on display today too
So what happened with him? Because
with Blake
like,
Griffin.
yeah, what happened? Did he get injured and he just never recovered from the injury?
Yeah, that's I mean that's part of it.
He's only 32 years old.
Yeah, no, it's right. No, but it's
There was
part of it though.
there was a time not too long ago where he was the face of the NBA. He was
Yeah,
a
well,
god.
it was always he was in the LeBron era, so it's LeBron, but he was one of the faces. Yeah, sure. But I think that so he got drafted in '09. He had he redshirted that year.
Yeah,
Comes back 2010, 2011, after off the ACL injury. It's like, oh my God, this guy jumps out of band. Once again, we have not seen a guy his size be able to handle the ball like that. We just haven't. We've never seen a guy that could do what he was doing like that. So it was like, wow. Like, and even KG was 6'11". KG didn't have the handle that Blake had coming out of
sure.
Oklahoma. It was just like, this guy is unreal. So yeah, I think the injuries caught up. I think that, with him getting maybe pressure to come back on the floor, that's what it was. But um, I think that just what happened. Once again, like I said, the game I was talking about from 3 years ago, that was during the 2018, 2019 year. So he was about to go into his age 30 season. Yeah, I think that, some of the Monstars for Space Jam took a little bit of his talent. But I will say because he's lost some of his athleticism, he's become a better jump shooter. He's become a better passer. So that's the skill set he has now suits what Boston needs. They don't need him to be the all-star guy. I think 4 or 5 years ago when they were looking to trade for him and see what they can do before they got Hayward or whatever, I know they were looking for him in the 2017 year. Like, they're not looking for that guy anymore. Can you come in, give us 10 to 15 minutes a night, make a few passes because he's a hell of a passer still. I think that once again, can you be what Bill Malta was for the '86 championship? Can you be that? Because if that's the case, we're in business. That's all I can say. We're in business. If he could be that, and once again, you got Brogdon coming off the bench, you got White coming off the bench, then it's Brogdon, White, Blake, and then a combination of Tatum and Brown. And once again, you still got to respect the shot. You can't just say, "Oh, he's out there." Once again, defensively, you're not wrong. Offensively, you can't just say, "Well, we'll leave him alone." Now, like early in his career, you could. Now that shot's going in. So, to me, once again, the defensive liabilities you spoke of, you're not wrong. However, offensively, there's still something there, and that's what they were lacking in the second unit. So hopefully, he's able to provide that.
Celtics beat the Charlotte Hornets today. First game of the preseason, 134 to 93. Celtics opened the regular season on October 8th.
Tuesday, yeah, the 18th. Yep.
Yeah, against the Philadelphia 76ers. That game will be a classic, of course, 7 o'clock, 7:30 at the TD Garden. Then they open it up on the 21st on the road as well versus the Miami Heat. Ray, 1 minute. What do you think of the Miami Heat player, Tyler Hero, getting that weird ass, huge, absurd 6-man contract?
So at first, it was originally supposed to be 5 years, 184. So,
Yeah.
that was the original number that was put out there, and
That was even worse.
I right, yeah, exactly. So initially, I said no way, but I think for what he brings to that team, he's really a Swiss Army knife for that team. So is he a great defender? No, but he's someone that's going to get you. He can get you 20 a night easily, no matter what role he's playing. personally, I think he should be starting, and I think eventually he's gonna become, the face of that franchise because obviously Jimmy.
That's gotta be the plan, right? They gotta
Yeah, it has to
starting.
be. It has to be. I mean, listen, people can say what they want. People wanted Tyler Hero here in Boston. They wanted him badly. Like I remember his workout here. The dude hit like 100 threes during his workout here in Boston.
I
And
like that weird chest ink, doesn't he?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Weird.
And yeah, Miami changes you. So
Oh, wow. You would know.
I think yeah. I mean, I said ain't no tattoo on my chest, But like I said, I know a few. I know a few people, but
I feel
like, yeah, yeah, right. But yeah, I think I mean, listen, you deserve what your agent will negotiate for you, and
yeah.
he got 130, so it's a little under 28 million a year. That's excellent money down there because he's not going to pay income tax down there in South Florida. So yeah, excuse me. I think that once again the deal works for them. They had to, like there was no one they were gonna find that's gonna do what he can do for them right now. I also think that was their way of appeasing him after him being in the trade talks for James Harden over the summer. So Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, Mickey Harrison, the rest of the brain trust over there say, hey, you know what, look. We know you heard the news. We know that you may feel a certain way about it. We still value you on this team. You're still a key contributor to our success. So that being said, we're going to offer you this 4-year deal, $430 million. You have until whatever time to sign it. So he wasn't finding that elsewhere. So people could say, oh, like, I think that he probably saw a guy like Dennis Schroeder did. Remember, Dennis Schroeder had an $84 million deal and turned it down, and now is playing for 2.6 million. Once again, we all play for 2.6 million, but when you could have got 84 million on the table and you're now playing for, you know, 2% of that, that's a bad hit, especially when you're in this to make money. Everyone can't win a championship, so you got to make as much money as you can to support only not you, but those that are around you. But yeah, but that's my thoughts on Tyler Hero. Once again, congrats to him. I'm excited to see what happens if we do play them in that second game. We're going that road trip early on. I'm almost tempted to go down there, and see, but I have to be up there for the Royals game the next day, so that's not going to work. Maybe I'll take it off and go down there and see them play against Miami because that's always a fun time to troll Miami Heat fans. But yeah, congrats to Hero, and maybe one day you'll be a Celtic once you get better.
Classic Ray Sean asked for a minute explanation, turns it into a TED talk. But Patriots lose, Celtics win first game of the preseason. Ray Sean, any parting thoughts before we'll talk to you. We'll say goodbye tonight, but we'll be back later this week.
No, parting thoughts is just hey, Patriots gotta be better. I said I'm pleased with what I saw from the Celtics. So, yeah, Celtics gotta keep building, Patriots gotta keep building, but as far as the Patriots go, it has to turn into actual wins. And we want to see more Matthew Slater video. So that's my parting thought. We want to see him saying, how do we feel about the second one of the season? How do we feel about the third, fourth, the fifth, so on and so forth. So more Matt Slater means that we're doing well. That's it.
Parting thought from me. Thankfully, the next time you hear us, which will probably be on Wednesday, it'll be the final day of the regular season for your Boston Celtics, and then the real work
Oh,
begins.
Red Sox.
Who'd I say?
You said Celtics.
I
But the
meant
Celtics will play.
I
Celtics
meant
will
the
play Wednesday though. Celtics will
I
play
meant
Stay tuned. Celtics play the Toronto Raptors at 7:30. TD Garden. I'll be there. So.
I met the Red Sox. They'll be done by the probably next time you hear from us on Wednesday or Thursday. Then the real work begins in the offseason, trying to lock up Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers and adding some actual talent to this team so we can look forward to a team to look forward to next February in Fort Myers, assuming they are able to rebuild the facility because they got hit pretty hard down in Fort Myers.
Right.
So for Rayson Buchanan, I'm Craig D'Alessandro. Thank you for listening to the 617 podcast, the voice of the Boston fans by the fans, brought to you by the Crowworthy Network, brought to you by betus.com and benchclears.com. We'll have links to both of those in the description down below. But for Rayson Buchanan, I'm Craig D'Alessandro. We'll talk to you later this week with Patriots versus Lions preview. Talk to you later, guys. Peace.